Hey, I was working on a Samsung dryer, and I figure, well, actually, I'm sorry, this is a Whirlpool, which ironically I hope opens the same way. Anyhow, what was going on here was, is the drum was squealing, like the belt was slipping or something. So it's probably got something wedged in there, and I was gonna work on it. I figured I might as well make a video showing people how to do this. And now I'm concerned because I thought it was a Samsung, but it's a Whirlpool. But it's ironic that the design looks the same. Okay, hope this shows up. Here's where the inside your doors where they put the. Well, it's not showing up, is it? It's too bright, probably. Here's where they put the model numbers and such. So this is WED85H. I can't. My eyes aren't working. HEF, and then the CO. It's either gonna be CO or WO. WO means like white. CO is like chrome or something like that. So this is a Whirlpool, not a Samsung. Whoever put this in, they put it in wrong. I think I actually paid the people to put it in when I bought it new. You need to have a retainer thing. What happens is this is still in the wall, and you pull, you can snap the plastic that this bolts to. Then you get like a couple $100 repair on your hand. Anyway, so I'll fix that when I put it back together. So what's going on is this thing's squealing, and it's either going to be something stuck in there, or it's going to be the idler pulley failing or something like that. Anyway, so it looks like you take the top two screws off. I'm just using a cordless drill, and I think it looks like a 15/16. I think that's what this is. Should be. Yeah, can't see. Looks like 15/16 socket. So I'm just going to zip those two off and pick it up after that. Alright, so I took the screws out and I just put them in a little plastic container, and I'll just keep sticking my stuff in there. I took the lint filter out and set it aside. These, after taking the two screws out the back, you just pull back, tilt up, wrestle it around, and it comes off. And next, I'm probably going to take the whole drum out. So, let me show you something here. So down there I got a silver cord. I need to shut off the cold water valve over there coming to that. So that goes for a steam attachment thing that I never use. I just forget it's there. So let me turn that off just so I don't, if something goes wrong, I'm not shooting water all over the place. Okay, so what I did is I had to find something to prop this up. I know that there's going to be, or usually there's screws along the bottom there. So I'm just going to go down there and take out the screws along the bottom. And then I'll start taking the screws out on the top. It looks like, we'll see. I'll probably take off this plastic piece first and then this piece, and then lift the whole thing off. But anyways, I just took an old paint can. I was looking for a 4x4, but I couldn't find one, and I'm not gonna, I'll see if you can see down here or not. There you can kind of see some screws along the bottom there. Just gonna take those out until it comes loose from the bottom. I might not have mentioned this. Those 4 screws on the bottom that I just did it by braille, which means I just kind of ran my hand along until I felt one and zipped it out. They're a 1/4 inch, each one, and these bigger ones are 5/16, and I'm referring to the head of the drive side of it. Okay, next I took out these are 1/4 inch also, and these were kind of weird. They're used the cutting tapping screw, which is odd, but that's what they did. I'll probably have to get like a screwdriver and somehow release these tabs here, but we'll see. And also I'll have to take these out and we'll see what kind of screws they put in there. They're 1/4 inch, but see if they look different. Okay, here's what I've done so far. I took out this screw. When I do this, I do it on the opposite side too. Took out this screw, and then this screw that was in here, and they're all that self-cutting 1/4 inch tapping screw. So doesn't matter which one goes where. I'll probably should just move this whole thing out of the way. We'll see. So next I gotta figure out how this separates, how the front separates. I see. I'll probably disconnect this wire from here. If I can figure out how to do it one-handed. Oh, so I just pulled this tab to the back and lifted this off. And I'll kind of just make sure it doesn't get hung up there when I've taken that off. In fact, maybe I'll push it in there so it doesn't get caught. I see from the back, well, that's probably the second step. We'll see how it goes. I gotta figure out what to do next. Well, the next part turned out to be incredibly easy. I'll show you how to do it. I came to the front and I just gently grabbed the top and tilted the whole thing, you know, rocked it, and it just released those tabs which were inside there, and it just, I haven't even taken all the way up there. And then that yellow cable that I pushed through that hole. So now I got this thing in my hand. I'm just gonna find someplace to put it here. So there you go. That exposes this. I don't know if I needed to take this off or not, but I did. So let me figure out if this white thing has to come off. The rest of the front should be held on. Oh, see, I might not even have to take that off. So you got some screws here, here, and here. Possibly, well, the bottom one should be what's holding it on the bottom. So what I'm going to try to do next is take off these. They look like 1/4" screws. 3 of them. And I probably didn't have to monkey around with this white thing, but maybe I did. I don't know. I haven't worked on one of these before. I can see this metal. That can probably stay behind. We'll see. Probably this will get the front cover off, and to get the drum out, if I need to, I'll have to remove this whole top bracket, and that's probably how it comes out. We'll see. Next, I'm going to take off these 3. So some of this is notes for me. These were just regular sheet metal screws, 1/4" sheet metal screws. The other ones were these self-tapping, self-cutting ones. Okay, next I'm going to take out this screw and this one, and hopefully that's all holding on the door. There's usually a wire for the door switch, here's the door switch up here, so there's probably a wire back here. You always got to watch that when you take it off, so you don't break that wire. But looks like, I can't quite see, it's kind of dark, but I think that's a Phillips screw. We'll find out. Okay, joy of not having a cameraman. What I did is I took my paint can out and leveled it, and now I'm going to attempt to take off this whole section here, keeping in mind that there's most likely a wire behind that button. Found the door switch that's in here, plastic deal. I probably need a tool to get it unplugged. Should be a bummer. Oh. Typical door switch. Oh, almost got it. Clean this up. I'll show you what I'm working on. Here's the door switch. It just comes out here, but I got to disconnect it here, and I wasn't ready for that. I almost got it done, but it's your typical Molex type plug. I usually use like a little pick, Harbor Freight pick, to get that separated. So I got to take that apart, and that'll allow me to remove the door. Okay, I'm gonna next disconnect this connector here. It should be for a moisture sensor switch. You just squeeze these 2 tabs, and I already got it loose, and then give it a tug and it disconnects. There's also a bracket holder there you need to find the screw. I can't see if it's on the top or the bottom. But just unscrew that screw and take this bracket out. Then I'm going to take these screws out. I'll probably show you that. I don't know. And then lift this whole unit off. I need to support. Remember we took this screw out? So this is kind of flopping around. Although it's, so you should really run like a wire from here to here or something to support this when you take it off. So that's something else I need to do. Okay, the little bracket thing that I showed you, or here it is, I put it over here. Okay, I took that bracket and set it over there. Here's what it looks like. Right there. And note to future self, I just put the screw back in there so I wouldn't have to go looking around for it, which would guarantee I don't remember that. Next, there's like 4 screws. Actually, I'll take off this top plate. You'll just see, I'll zip some screws off and hopefully that'll just come off. Let's do that right now. I ended up just putting some duct tape to hold that panel up. And these are just regular machine screws, 1/4 inch. And hopefully this, oh, that just came right up. But there we go, little tabs holding it. Set that aside. And then this looks like it just has 4 1/4 inch screws holding the bulkhead support, I guess. I don't know, the drum support in. As I'm doing this, I can see there's tabs holding it in, so I don't have to worry about it falling. These are just regular machine screws, 1/4 inch. And if I did it all right, you should really wear gloves when you do this stuff. Something's holding on. Let me reevaluate and see. I'll give it one more tug. Feels like something's hanging. There we go. Kind of the secret of this stuff is you should know when, if you're not sure, don't apply force. I'm looking at all the junk down the blower motor housing. If you're not sure, don't apply force. And you need to know when to apply force. Anyways, so now get in here. I'll have to reach in there. I don't know if you can see my arm. Let me flip this around so I can see kind of what I'm doing. I'll have to reach in. Can't see anything. I don't know how much that showed up. I'll have to reach in underneath the drum and undo the idler pulley. You can watch videos on YouTube how to do that. I can't really get the camera in there to show you. And I just do it by feel. Put some gloves on, it's safer. Once I get the belt off, then the drum will come out. Okay, after you get the pulley undone on the bottom, you just kind of pull these to the side to help give you some room. You can use this as a handle, it just comes out. Actually, the belt's hooked on something. There we go. And this just slides out. And the reason why I'm doing this, well, I'll show you. I'm suspecting the pulley's hanging, but it actually looks pretty good. Okay, good news is I don't see, hopefully everything's, it just needs a tune-up. These wheels are not turning easily. So I'll just take this apart clean these up. Back here, the back rollers, they're starting to seize up too, so that needs cleaning. This roller here, hopefully I can kind of tune it up. If not, I have to replace that whole arm. But this is the main culprit. Between all that drag between those four rollers and that idler pulley, that's why what's going on is the belt's spinning and squealing. Eventually the belt will break. But so it just needs a good cleaning and a tune-up. So I can do that. I wasn't going to show how to do this, but I figure I will. So all these wheels that need to be cleaned up, the way you do that is there's a little plastic triangle, I believe it's made out of nylon, and it's easiest if you use some kind of pick. And I'll show you where that goes. That triangle just sits in the groove right there, and there's probably hair and stuff, so use the pick. Basically it's really hard to do at first until you get the hang of it, but it's tricky to get that triangle off. But once you get it off, then the wheel will come off, and then you're just gonna take a rag. There's another triangle back here. Get all the hair out of there and get a rag and clean this off. And then what I do is I take some the nicest automotive oil you can get, like a 020 of the highest grade, and just put a drop on that with a rag and clean it off, and that'll stay on there for a long time and lubricate it, and you don't have to worry about high temperatures. But I just clean it off, but you can't get it off because it'll leave a film, and that's what you want. And then I take a rag and I stick it in there, clean that up, and then I put it on there and I just spin it around until the film of oil kind of bonds with that surface, and then it'll spin real good. And then you put the clip back on. There's another one. That's what it looks like before you clean it. It's all nasty looking like that. And these sometimes you can't clean. You end up having to change the whole arm. But I'm going to throw in a sonic cleaner, and maybe I'll show that, and we'll see how that turns out. That's going to be the hardest one, is that guy right there. But so that's all I'm doing now, and I did that already on the outer ones. There's one there and one there. Figure I'll show you this too. This is my oiler. It's just, I don't like this one. It leaks a little bit. This is just a cheap Harbor Freight one. Look at garage sales. Try to get an old school one. They work really good. But this is how you put a drop of oil right on that shaft. Figure I'll show you the difference. Here's the one I just cleaned. See it spinning there? And then here's one I haven't done yet, and it barely spins. And this thing doesn't spin at all. And again, I just put a drop and I actually wipe it off with the rag, and so it's almost like there's no oil there, but there is a film, thin film. Yeah, I got everything put back together, and I kind of wanted to show you. You can't see this with the drum in the way, so basically I took the belt, put it underneath this tensioner, and then looped it around the pulley. And of course you want the, probably can't see that, you want the grooves of the belt, there's grooves in the pulley there, you want them, you know, to be like that. And then I'll try to show you this. Picture this is the drum in here, and it's just gonna go, oops, it kinda came off. I'm trying to do this with, should use a stand. Can't quite get the belt underneath there, but you can see it pulls up, and this would loop around the drum. That's how you get the tension. Try to show you a little bit better down here. So it would kind of go like that, and where my hand is, the drum would be in there, and of course this would be way out, not touching that pulley. So that's how that kind of goes in there. You can watch videos on how to put it on. So I'm just gonna put the drum in here, and then put the belt over the drum, which you won't be able to see me do if I showed you, because Got to put my hands through here and right about here. Okay, a little trick I use. I put the belt. I don't know that there's necessarily a front or back, but I like to put the drum back so that the belt rides about where it was before, and I think that's where it was. I might be wrong on that, but anyways, a little trick you can do is you can push this out and it'll pull the sides out a little bit so you can push the drum easier. And again, I'm just hanging onto this and kind of pushing my hip to the front, and other hand pushing this out, kind of wiggle it in. And then those bearings that you saw in the back, they're going to ride in that groove right there. So right now the drum's kind of sitting on those wheels back there. So you'll know if you have it, it'll turn. And so next, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I think I got to put this piece on next. And okay, remember I left the screw in. Oops, sorry. Left the screw in down here somewhere, so I got to get that out. You got your moisture sensor there. And I believe I'm going to put this on next. So I'll kind of keep you up as I go along. Okay, let me show you what I've done. Oops, dog wants to come walking from here. So I hooked this clip back on. It just goes from the back. The center piece goes to that piece back there, and then the front just goes over the lip here. Right there's a little piece in the back that stays in the back. So then I just put the 4 screws, 1/4-inch ones here, here, there, and there. And you just want to make sure when you put the next piece on that this stays above it. So next, let me see what goes next. Okay, so you want to make sure you hook up your water sensor switch there. I just put this on here. See, it just sits on here. And I'm kind of lining up these holes here, these holes here, and then this you want to make sure it's on top. And these should all be 1/4-inch. I hope those aren't those self-tapping screws. They probably were. And then you put in 3. I remember those were the Phillips screws there. So let me do that next. Okay, so what I done next is this was one of those self-tapping 1/4-inch. Put one there. For some reason they had a self-tapping here. Put it in here and there. And I got 2 self-tapping lefts that will go there and there. But if I remember right, that holds the plastic piece on, so I'll probably end up doing that last. I was thinking the Phillips went up here, but the Phillips head ones, I got 2 of them and they go there and there. That's later on. So I think I'm ready to put on the door. And here's the door switch, and I remember there's the control panel that'll go last, that goes into there. This is the door switch cable. So let me kind of get that going. And then I'll have the 4 screws on the bottom. I think what I'll do is I'll put the 2 middle ones in almost all the way, because I was noticing on the door on the bottom they got cut out, so you could probably, where is it? Right there and there. So I probably didn't need to take those screws all the way out, just loosen them up, but so I'll just put them in a little bit and hang the door, or place the door down here. That'll make sense later on. And then there's 3 screws on top there, and that's the door switch that will go to this cable here. Alright, let me kind of get situated there. Okay, I don't know if I showed it or not, but I put in these 2 1/4-inches and had to put this all together, and I had to take it apart because I forgot to hook up that door switch. And if you just leave the 2 bottom ones out a little bit, you can take the 2 far ones out, and then you can lean this back, and there's the cable there. I just routed it up through here, and plugged it in. So now I got to put it back on. So, oh, this gives me a good opportunity. On this back panel, you see that little clip thing right there? Make sure you put those in. They help that sit in. And it's kind of like this one here. I'll show you that. So I'll try to. You got it. I'm using my foot. There. I kind of just lift it up and it clips on there. Same with this. I'm just lifting it up on the bottom a little bit. There. It kind of locks that in. Now I can put in these 3 1/4" hex head screws. Okay, next I put in the 2 Phillips. Little tip that I don't know if I mentioned is I run my power screwdriver on unloose till I feel it pop once or twice, and then my zip it in. That keeps you from cross threading when you're using power tools, or you should do that all the time. Keeps you from accidentally cross threading. Alrighty, so I think control panel's next. It should be. Have to route that cable through here, plug it into the motherboard, and I believe it just sits on here, rocks up and clips into here. And then I put the last 2 1/4" self-tapping screws in there, and that'll be done with all the 1/4" stuff. Okay, I got my dryer unplugged. You definitely want to do this unplugged. The way these stress tabs, if you look in here, you can see I got my cable passing through it. It bites down, there's little tabs that hook into the hole. This is actually not the design I like, but I didn't want to take everything off. Not that I couldn't, I'm just lazy. So this is the one that you can put on without having to pull the wire off. And I just wanted to check, this is for a 4-wire setup. And when I see stuff like this, I wonder if they did the rest of it right. They got the ground right, the neutral's going to the neutral, and they actually hooked up these correct. See how the flat side goes to the back? You do that so you don't strain these connectors, and they did that there and there. And then if you look up top there, you can see the left one is black and the white one's red. That's sometimes they reverse those, and so you have a red and a black, and won't make any difference, but just to be correct, you should put the black to black, red to red, and white to white, and green to green, or green to ground in this case. And so anyways, and the key also is you want a little bit inside there. So got that all taken care of, and the reason being was I said, see, if I pull on this, it's gonna tug on the case. If I don't have, like it was before, if I pull on it, it puts stress on this, and if it breaks this, these are just all plastic on there. If that breaks that, it becomes a really expensive job. These things are hard to get just by themselves, and they sell them weird. There's ways to do it, but most people don't. You can't get them, just that plastic part. And they'll sell a whole wiring harness, and you end up having to cut the wires and splice it in and all kinds of crazy stuff. There's a better way to do it, but it's not available to consumers usually. Anyways, got that on. I'll just put the plate back on. Now it's has a stress relief on there. Okay, so the way this goes on is you just slide one in, kind of lifts under there. Actually, I'm lying to you. It drops in first and then kind of slides forward. There you go. Let me just put the screws in here. Where'd the drill go? Oh, there it is. Let's see. Anyways, I'm having a hard time lining it up. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, that's it. I just put those screws on, and so after you plug it in, you probably should do this first, but don't forget to turn your water back on and make sure there's no leaking. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you know how to turn it on. You've been using these things. You just turn it on, make sure it's all working. Anyways, hope this video helps somebody out. And if you like this, maybe give me a thumbs up. And you have a great day.